Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. This is Spike. Today we're going to be doing a Conquest character guide. Yes, similar to the way Mecha did it, but I know that he does not have as much experience with Conquest as he, as I do, and as much as he should have, really. Today we're going to go over all of the units that you can get in Gen 1 of Conquest. That doesn't include, this does not obviously include capturables, so there's no Haitaka, there's no Kumagera, and I'm going to move them from here to all the way down. This is alphabetical order. There's a few notes to keep in mind. Units are all units that have child units corresponding to them will be given credit for whatever loot that you can get on the children's pair logs. For example, Odin will get credit for all items that you can, all of the items that you can get on the Ophelia pair log. Niles would get credit for all the chests that are on Nina's pair log. Alright. Are you actually kidding me? Is this music not picking up? Alright, sorry. I'm playing Breath of the Wild music, so it's definitely a lot quieter than most other music right now. Alright, it'll swap to being a bit louder soon. Okay. Let's just quickly talk about two more things before we get started. The first thing is, what do these tiers mean? Meta-defining. Meta-defining units are units that change how you play Conquest. If these units did not exist, you would definitely be playing Conquest completely differently. Sometimes they just have some unique attribute to them that makes them really good, like Xander having access to 1 to 2 range that's physical, and that's not daggers. Or Camilla just joining early with really good stats. Or Felicia and Jakob having access to good, normal EXP gain while still being in a promoted class, stuff like that. And now we have the 3 investment tiers. Now, these units are not necessarily better than each other, but they are different from each other. Low investment units are units that join and are still pretty solid. You don't need to put too much into them. Investment for me is I try not to count EXP as investment unless it's an inordinate amount of EXP, unless you need to give them a ton of EXP for them to work. Turns don't count. I don't give a shit about turn counts, because this is for newer players, and telling a newer player they're playing the game wrong because they're not going fast enough is a dick move, and also is just completely wrong. This tier list, by the way, is for Lunatic. I will tell this mostly applies to hard mode, because hard mode and Lunatic are pretty similar. There are big differences, but you can play the games for the most part in the same way. Low investment units are units that join that are pretty good. You don't need to put too much into them. You don't need to hard seal them a bunch. Medium investment units are units that need resources to be good. That are somewhat they need some resources to be good. If you put more into them, they'll become even better. And if you don't put anything into them, they can kind of be used, but you really do want to put more into them. High investment units are units that, case by case, some high investment units might not give you that much return. Some high investment units might give you a ton of return, but they are units that need a lot of resources to become good. Utility units are units that do special roles that aren't necessarily combat-based. This is usually backpacks. And bad units are units that are bad. Alright, let's get this party started. Arthur's a utility unit. If you haven't played Conquest before, all Berserkers in this game are basically backpacks. Arthur is a fighter. He joins really early, but his stats suck. He has garbage accuracy. His HP is solid, but his accuracy is terrible. His speed is okay, but he'll get doubled pretty easily if you don't watch what he's doing. His biggest saving grace is that he joins at a high base level, so you can level him up just 3 times, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. If we check Arthur right here. Yes, Arthur joins at level 7. You only need to give him 3 levels to get him to promote. And once he promotes, you will have access to a really good backpack in the form of Berserker Arthur or Hero Arthur if you really need a bunch of hit rate. Berserker Arthur will give you 7 strength, 3 skill, and 3 speed, which is pretty good. Hero Arthur will give you 2 strength, 6 skill, 3 speed, and 2 defense, which is not really that useful outside of very few niche units that I'll talk about later on. But yeah, I'm just saying Arthur's Arthur is a backpack. He's a damn good backpack because he joins early, but that is what he is. He doesn't provide too much value as a combat unit unless you early promote him, which I always recommend because you're going to get more value out of early promoting Arthur than you are out of just using him as a combat unit for the entire game and trying to make him work. Just promote him for chapter 10. Yeah, make sure you take gamble off of him the second he learns it, because it's going to make his life even harder. All right, next up is Azura. Azura is a dancer. Enough said. Benny. Okay. We all know that dancers are good. Dancers mean that you can get more turns on your best units. You can give Camilla a dance. Sometimes some units actually really benefit off of having dances, like Peri, who can use her stats that she gets from killing an enemy with her personal and use it to go even further and do more stuff. Azura can also, at level 10, get a skill that lets her give +3 skill, speed, and luck to whoever she wants. You can get the skill as early, like, if you don't get it before the route split, and you're like, yeah, I just spent like 17 years in chapter 5 grinding her level up to level 10, then you can do it then. However, you can also do this in Conquest as early as chapter 9. Just keep having her dance random people until she gets up to level 10. Is it going to take a shitload of time? Yes. Is it going to be worth it? Probably. So, I mean, it's how you want to play the game. In Quickies, I did this on chapter 13 because I was really, like, my calculations were really being made a lot harder by the fact that I couldn't use Azura's +3 speed to get to doubling thresholds. Anyways, let's move on to Benny. Benny is an armor knight. He joins you on chapter 13, and he has just a shit ton of defense. He's the armor knight to end all armor knights. He has like 20 defense and like even solid res. Like, let's see. Benny has 19 base defense along with defense +2, so 21 defense and 10 res. He joins at level 15, so he doesn't get that much EXP, but he has 31 HP and 70% HP growth, which might not seem that important until you realize that this is Fates, and Fates units don't tend to have HP growth that high. He has 60% strength, 65% skill, 75% defense, 45% res. That's a workable res stat. And all of these growths get even better once he promotes into general, which you're going to want to do. His speed is 15%. His speed is unsalvageable, so don't bother trying to salvage it. Benny has a lot of usability as just a general that you just send into places to tank things. His lance rank starts off at C, I'm pretty sure, which is pretty solid because you can get him to B rank lances and get a bunch of weapon rank bonuses, and also like after if you get him to B rank and then use an arm scroll, you can get him to A rank and then start using brave lances to kill enemies as well. Benny's main issue is that he just doesn't kill things. He can tank things, even mages, but he just will not be able to kill them. But even that, his personal is also really good. It's -10 avoid to enemies within 2 spaces, which basically means he gets +10 hit, which is, like, if you ever used Ignots in 3 houses, you will know how good having just extra hit is. It's a godsend for reliability, especially when you're using kind of middling hit rate weapons like the Javelin. I'm going to put Benny into low investment. You can just promote him into a general as soon as he joins. Give him a kind of decent, like, you can pair him up with, like, Beruka or something. Get him, just do some shit like that. If you use Benny properly, you will get a very good tank. Benny can and will stonewall enemies. Enemies just will not be able to get past him if you build him right. But, and knowing how to do it is not that hard, but, you don't get too much return out of it, so I would definitely not say that he's the best unit you can use. But he's definitely worth trying out. Next up, we have Beruka. And with Beruka, we're gonna start off with talking about bias, and you might be wondering, what the hell do you mean bias? So, as much as I have a lot of experience with Conquest, I'm definitely a very biased player. There's some units that I just don't like, some units that I like a lot, and some units and a lot of units that I'm just kind of indifferent about. I'm just gonna go out there and just tell you right now is that there's a few units that I'm going to rate much or at least a little bit lower than they should be rated, and those units are Beruka, Jacob, not too much bias against Jacob, but definitely a little bit of bias against Jacob, Beruka, Jacob, Nyx. Those are the 3 units that I have a lot of bias against. There's also some units that I have bias for. Units that I really like are Felicia. I really like Felicia. I like Laslow. I like Leo. I like Niles, but Niles is not. my bias towards Niles is because he is good. Like, Niles is good. Like, where I put Niles is where he's supposed to be. I have bias towards Odin, I have bias towards Peri, and bias towards Shura. Those are the units that I have bias towards. So, like, if you see me rating one of those units a bit in a spot that seems a bit weird, then you should probably, like, know that it's probably bias at play. Okay, now, let's get over to Beruka. Now, I just said, again, I don't really like Beruka that much. She joins pretty early on Chapter 10. She has a pretty solid personal. She has some strength. She has a bunch of skill growth. Her strength is kind of middling. Her defense is good. And her HP is garbage. So, it's just kind of meh all around. But they're, like, getting access to speed as a female, you have a bunch of good options. You have access to Arthur for, like, 3 speed. You have access to Keaton for, like, 7 speed. Or, not 7 speed. I'm talking out of my ass right now. It's, like, 4 speed after promotion. Sorry, hold up. Wolfsegner Keaton gives you 4 speed. Yeah, 4 speed from Keaton. You can get a bunch of speed from, like, Niles, a bunch of speed from Kaze. You can get speed a lot easier as a female than you can as a male. So supporting Beruka's bad speed is not that hard. And she's also a flyer, so, like, she can put in some work. And her reclass is Berserker, which means that you can actually help out her HP. I don't like her that much, but I am going to put her into a medium investment. Without getting her the extra Heart Seal at some point to reclass her into Berserker, her HP is going to be dog shit always. But if you go that extra mile, she's going to become a lot better. And even with dog shit HP, you can still make it work. Alright, next up is Camilla. Camilla is going straight into meta defining. We'll order the tiers later because there's gonna be a brawl up here in the S tier. Camilla she joins Chapter 10. She has among the best, like, offensive stats for the entire game. She's in a flying class. She is a pre-promote, and she still has some, like, a lower internal level, so she still gets pretty decent EXP gain. She's a woman, so she has good access to backpacks. She's also got god tier growths. She's, like, I think she is the fastest unit you can get in Conquest. Let's see. Camilla has 60% speed and 19 speed base. That's a very fast unit. And even if she only has, she only has 19 levels to grow, just shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. No, nobody cares, dude. She's good. Camilla is a meta-defined unit. If you do not have Camilla, the way you can, like, your options to approach certain maps are going to be significantly diminished. And having Camilla is going to make your life a lot more easy. Now, there is Camilla is not a perfect unit. There are, like, a few issues with her. There's, like, one kind of annoying issue and a couple of, like, other slightly more minor issues. The more annoying issue is that her HP is kind of shit. She's in Fates, so she can't have a great HP stat. She starts off with 30 HP, which is pretty solid, but having 19 levels to grow does make an impact when you only have 40% HP growth. So, like, towards endgame, she's gonna have, what, like, 20 times 0.4? That's gonna be, what, 2 times 4? She's gonna have 38 HP, not even 40 HP by the time she hits endgame on average levels. So that is an issue. The backpacks that you're going to want to give her are Arthur and Keaton, and both of them have access to Berserker reclass and are going to give her Berserker reclass, so you can get her HP plus 5 pretty easily, but it still stands that her HP isn't that great. The other issue is that she starts off as a Malignite, which does give her some access to magical weapons, but you are probably going to want to spend that extra Heart Seal at some point to make her better as a defensive unit, physically defensive unit, than a magically defensive unit. Camilla as a Malignite has 45% defense and 60% res, and 18 defense and 15 res, but if you just turn her into a Wyvern Lord, she becomes 55% defense, 45% res, and 20 defense and 10 res, which is definitely worth the extra trade-off, because you also get a bit more speed and stuff. But, again, Camilla does just well as a Malignite until, like, you hit Hoshido, and she starts becoming a lot more squishy, so it's not too much of an issue, but it is something to keep in mind, that you're going to want to reclass her at some point. So, just this is just advice for using Camilla. Camilla lets you do all kinds of wild shit. Like, you can give her a movement pair up on chapter 13 with, like, Niles and give her some extra speed, and you can have a pretty unreliable but funny kill on, what's her face, Reyna, in the middle of chapter 13, and just get rid of the giant no-fly zone that she puts up on that map. It's going to be very unreliable because air superiority means that she's going to have really bad hit, but you can still make it work. Another thing, like, Camilla also lets you just, base Camilla can just get the Beruka pair up, trade Beruka's Iron Axe off of her, and stand on the bottom right village off chapter 10, and on Lunatic, Oboro can reach that village, but Camilla's just gonna one round Oboro, and she's just really good. You also get the dual club, which is C rank axe, so basically Camilla is like the only one that can use it around that join time. Like, Charlotte and Beruka can eventually use it. You can probably give it to Corrin if you're doing Corrin, axe Corrin, stuff like that, but like Camilla is the one that starts off being able to use it, and it makes it so that her weapon triangle matchups are basically non-existent in terms of like having to worry about them. She just has a lot of like merit to using her. All right, so she's gonna be up there. Next up is Charlotte. Charlotte is like, I love using Charlotte. She has so much HP, so much strength, so much speed, but she's just way better as a backpack for Xander. It's just so sad. Like, Charlotte, her bases are kind of meh, but she joins kind of under level, so you can make it work. She joins at level 10, so you can just insta-promote her if you want. She's 85% HP as a fighter, 75% strength, 50% skill, 65% speed. Fuck all for defense and res, but who cares? That's badass. Like, Charlotte is a glass cannon, but like it's so sad because she just like her pair up as a berserker gives 8 strength and 5 speed and an S support, so she just really ends up being a better backpack for Xander than anything else. If you want to use Combat Charlotte, I highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun, but for the most part, just insta-promote Charlotte into a Berserker, bench her until you get Xander, turn her into a backpack for Xander, and just profit off of it. After Xander levels up one time, he's going to get 6 speed, 9 strength, and +1 to all other stats off of her because he gets defender access. She's just so good. Like, I want to put her into like medium investment because she's a fun combat unit, but she's just way better as a backpack, so I would say just use her as a backpack. Corrin is Corrin. Like, we all know Corrin. Corrin can reclass into anything based on what your talent is. Corrin can give any class to any person based on what your talent is. Corrin has a child unit that's pretty damn good, and that paralog, if you access it early enough, you can get a shit ton of EXP from it. Corrin can also be a busted backpack because Corrin's personal supportive gives +2 damage dealt, -2 damage taken, and +10 hit to any person that Corrin is paired up with that has a C support or higher with them. And it's just... Corrin is good. Like, avatars are always going to be really good because of the fluid way that you can like change up their classes. You can do whatever you want with an avatar basically, and that's part of what makes Corrin really good. Like, it's not that hard to explain. Next up we have Effie. Effie's going to be the first unit in the high investment tier. High investment, again, for people that are like, oh man, that sounds like they're worse. High investment units are not necessarily worse, and Effie is a great example. You can just like use Effie without putting much into her. You can just turn her into like a general or a great knight or something and just use her for like tanking some enemies and dealing a shit ton of damage with her giant strength stat. But when Effie really starts to shine is if you can afford to give her like a good backpack. If you can give her Keaton or Arthur and give the other one to Camilla, Effie can turn into like a berserker, have like 95% strength, 30 strength or some shit, and just go buck wild on enemies. Effie is a ton of fun to use, and the more you put into her, the better she's going to get. Every single thing that you put into Effie is going to give you some level of return back. If you get her into her speed, which you might think is an issue considering that she's an armor knight, is actually not that much of an issue. Effie's speed is like is hindered by the fact that she starts off as an armor knight, but her speed base is kind of middling, but her speed growth is pretty damn solid. Like, she has like, what, 50% speed as an armor knight? I think she has like 40 or 50% speed as an armor knight. Yeah, Effie has 55% speed as an armor knight, so you can just turn her into like You can just like if you just use her as a knight until like level 15 or something, and eventually reclass her, she's going to have enough speed that it can work. Like Effie is a fun unit to use, and and she joins early, and she has good stats, and she can also be a tank. Like if you want a unit that you can use at any point in time, I would highly recommend Effie. Effie's a very solid unit. Next up we have Elise. Elise is going to go straight into medium investment, top of medium investment. You can just use Elise is a unit that's kind of two-faced. You can use her as just a solid staff bot that joins early, has some good supporting stats. She's kind of underleveled, but she's a healer, which kind of sucks, but you can just promote her at level 10 and get some better staff rank, stuff like that. And she has some solid magical offenses, but she dies to everything. Or you can reclass her into a wyvern immediately early on with using one of your heart seals. And if you can give her like if you can give her just a tiny bit of support, the busted stats that the wyvern class has will just carry her to great heights. Wyvern is just a stupid class. Her strength is going to be kind of shit, but then she gets strength +2. Like it's insane. Like you can give her that's the only time that I would even like consider hero Arthur pair up. Elise's skill is the stat that she's known for having just none of. Like, for example, Oni Chieftain Elise has, like, 0 skill. Like, a 0 base skill. Like, that's a promote. That, to be fair, she has to not level skill at any time until, like, before she promotes. But it's still pretty funny. That's how low her skill base is. That as an Oni Chieftain, for example, or an Oni Savage, she just has 0 skill. It's, I did that once. It was actually a lot of fun. It was stupid, but it was fun. It was like playing FE6, but it was actually fun instead of it being stupid. It was also stupid, but like it was fun instead of it being frustrating. Let's put it that way. Wyvern Elise I used to be a doubter, but if you doubt Wyvern Elise's powers, I would just try her out. Like chapter 7, just buy a heart seal, turn her into a wyvern, give her Arthur pair up, use her on chapter 8, and she will just shred enemies. She's good. She's good. She's very good. Even as a wyvern though, she will die somewhat easily, so I would try to be careful with her. She's very fragile no matter what you do with her. So just if you want a unit that's more reliable and like that can like survive more stuff, I would just use somebody like, I don't know, like Leo or Odin, just or Camilla, just somebody that has a bunch of defense and they could just survive things. But at least still very good. All right, Felicia, and while we're at Felicia, let's also get Jacob. Felicia and Jacob are are wild units. Like, what the game gives them is like the amount of privilege that they're like spawned with is wild. Felicia and Jacob join you very early. They join you they join you in the prologue actually. So if you can level them up before the prologue, especially Felicia, I like getting her to at least level 5 so she can get live to serve and not have to worry about her own HP if for whatever reason she gets a bit low, which can happen. They join you like super early. They're there for the entire game, depending on like what gender Corrin you are. If you're a female Corrin, you'll get Jacob first. If you're a male Corrin, you'll get Felicia first. After chapter 15, the other servant will show up, but they'll be significantly worse. The second Felicia is kind of okay, but she's kind of in the same boat as Flora, except she has the unique thing that these two have that makes her slightly better. Felicia and Jacob both are in promoted classes. Maid and Butler is a promoted class off Troubadour. You can normally go into Troubadour and then promote into Maid. However, Felicia and Jacob join with normal stats, and they have regular EXP gain. Jacob is a lot more physical and like a tiny bit more he's a lot more tanky, and he has a lot more strength than magic. Felicia is a lot more magically inclined. And they each have a reclass to support this. Felicia can go into strategist, Jacob can go into paladin or great knight. You can get a lot of value out of this unit. So you can go like mechanist Corrin and marry them and then get them like early replicate. You can go like malignite and get early trample. You can go out and like archer or sniper or something, get bow fair, get any fair skill that you really want. The uniqueness that they have sets them apart from other units and gets them a lot of value that you really just wouldn't be able to see otherwise. Also, their personals are really good for Corrin. Actually, well, Felicia's personal is really good for Corrin. Felicia's would definitely be worse than Jacob, aside from the fact that we have this guy. Where is he? Who the fuck is he? Did I miss? Oh yeah, I missed Silas. Yeah, aside from the fact that we have this guy right here, Jacob is would be a lot better. He's still good, but Silas can really just outdo what he does. But you can still get another promoted, another like mounted unit that's good. So, But Felicia's personal devoted partner gives +2 damage dealt and -2 damage taken to Corrin when she's paired up with him. So it's just, it can get you a lot of value. Jakob has evasive partner, which is -3 damage taken and +15 avoid. Gunter has the best out of the three, which gives him +3 damage dealt and +15 hit, but we'll talk about that later. Basically, Felicia and Jakob are very good, and they're very unique as units, and that sets them apart and makes them a lot. And also, they have like just good stats, and they join early, so that makes them a lot better. Next, we have Flora. Flora is probably going to be the only unit that's in this tier. Flora is trash. She joins pretty damn late. She has super middling stats, and her weapon ranks are only like okay. You might think that I'm being a bit harsh on Flora. She can be a pretty good staff bot, right? The issue with that thinking is that Flora joins around the time where you can just like wait for 2 more like at this point you have access to Elise, you have access to Felicia or Jakob, and you have access to Felicia and Jakob actually, and you also have had a ton of chapters where you can just capture staff users. Chapter 18 also gives you even more maids that you can capture, and those maids are gonna have S rank staves, so they can just bypass all of the shit that Flora has to do to get a better staff rank, which might not seem like that much of an issue, but like if you're playing a normal run, you can kind of do some cheeky stuff with the Bifrost. Having a higher staff rank also means that you heal better, and you also have better hit rate with status staves, stuff like that. Just makes them a better stat ball. Flora is just really bad. We're just gonna leave it there. Next up is Gunter. I fucking love Gunter, man. I would put him up here, but he really doesn't. He doesn't deserve to be there. Like, he's good, but he's not that good. Gunter is sick. Gunter joins you on chapter 15. He's on a chapter where it's only him, Corrin, and Azura. You usually want to use that chapter as a Corrin solo, but still, Gunter, regardless of well, if you're a male Corrin, it's a lot better, but regardless of what gender you are, you can get Paladin off of Gunter, you can get Great Knight off of Gunter, because by either marrying him or getting an A support with him, you can get an insane backpack off Gunter, because, let's see, S rank, I'm gonna do A rank support. Gunter. Okay, let's see Gunter. Gunter as a Great Knight, if you have an A rank support with him, you will get 3 strength, 1 skill, 5 defense, and a movement from Great Knight Gunter. However, if you add in Gunter's personal, that means that you get 6 strength, 3 magic, 1 skill, 5 defense, 1 move, and extra 15 hit. And it doesn't end there. Gunter's stats are kind of dog shit, and his growths are definitely really bad. But that's not what you're here for. What you're here with Gunter for is the fact that he is okay, like, base stats. He has base 17 strength, which is enough. Base 24 skill, which means that he's definitely not, like, missing enemies. And he has elbow room, which means that he deals more damage. He has shelter, so you can use him as a shelter bot if you want. But the thing that really makes him as good as he is his weapon ranks. He has D rank swords, B rank lances, and C rank axes. This means that he has access to all of the effective weaponry that you can get outside of, like, the hunter's knife and bows and shit like that. It's very good. Like, effective weapon stats in Fates are really, really, really good, because effective weapons have this unique ability where if you use them on an enemy that they're not good against, for example, if you use a hammer on, like, a hero or something, hammers are supposed to be good against armor units, but if you don't use it against an armor unit, you deal -4 damage. Technically, it's -4 might, but it's the same, because it's not like you're doing effective damage, but also you get that debuff. Yeah, I probably just confused you with that sentence. Just ignore that last one. Basically, you do 4 less damage and you have 10 less hit with them. So that lets devs push the weapons, push the base stats of effective weapons without getting, like, FE6 Armor Slayer, where you can just give it to Deke and it's a better steel sword. They're very good. Like, you can get base stat Gunter with, like, a C support with Corrin paired up with Corrin. Give him a hammer and he can, like, 2-hit KO endgame generals, like that. Not endgame, but like chapter 26 generals. He can get some good kills on dodgy enemies that he has effective weapon. He's actually pretty solid against Kitsune because as I said, he has fucking 24 skill, and if you have a C support with him, he's getting 10 more hit off of that. And B rank lances means that you have weapon rank bonuses, which gives you extra hit too. Like, you can use him to do a lot more things than you would imagine. Another cool thing is that his internal level is actually also super low, just like Felicia and Jakob. So you can get him, like, promoted, like, tier skills, like, a bit earlier. Like, if you want, you can just go into fucking Malignite and get him trample. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. You can go into if you just keep him a Great Knight, he'll actually get Armor Blow really soon. You can get like Shuriken Breaker or some dumb shit like that. If you're paired up with like Corrin, I guess you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't give him. His reclasses are all pretty damn good. You can give him Wyvern Lord, which is basically Great Knight but like slightly different. You can also get him a Hero for a little bit of speed. Same with Bow Knight. Hero is basically the one that you want to go for if you just want a shit ton of stats. Like, let's see. Let's see how much, what Gunter gives as a hero. He gives 2 strength, 5 strength with his personal active, 4 skill, 3 speed, 4 defense. That's a good ass pair up. Like, that's just a good pair up. Gunter's good. That, end of story. Izana. Izana is utility. Like, I want to put him into the low investment category, but, like, at the end of the day, Izana, the reason that you use Izana is that he has good, okay chip damage, good staff rank, and he has Rally Magic and Rally Luck. 2 rallies that you really can't get without going into fucking Shrine Maiden or Priest Corrin, which don't fucking do that. You're gonna cuck your Corrin out of being a good unit if you do that. Izana, he's here to rally up Leo, or I guess Ophelia if you're doing like weird Vantage Life and Death Ophelia strats. I don't really recommend it to newer players, but if you really want to do it, then you can get some value out of it, I guess. Basically, your late game magic unit here doing that. You can also get some extra staff. You can also get some extra healing if you do it. Rally Luck might sound like a meme, but it's not, because luck is significantly buffed, and also Rally Luck gives 8 fucking luck. If you would give me a moment here, I can actually check what all Rally Luck will give you. Let's see. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong. Okay. Rally Luck will give you. 4 hit, 4 avoid, 4 crit avoid, and I guess 4 staff avoid. Like 4 hit and 4 avoid, and like I guess even the 4 crit avoid is. That's solid bonuses. So you can get value out of that. And Izana joins at base with it, and he's just there as a support unit, and he's a good support unit. There's nothing shameful in being a support unit. Next up, we have Kaze. Kaze goes straight into low investment. Kaze, he's a ninja, and he has good speed, and he has access to good strength backpacks, and he's good. Kaze's good. He's good. He's a ninja. Okay, he's a ninja, and he has the stats that you would expect out of any ninja. A shit ton of speed, a bunch of res, not much defense, good skill, middling strength. But he also comes with a oddly solid HP stat, which means that you can actually get him, like, turn him into a... He's a god tier mage killer. Like, Chapter 26 Mage Room, just send Kaze into it, and all those mages are as good as dead. Chapter 11 Mage Room, Kaze. Chapter 16, you can send Kaze into there, and if he has the right defensive bonuses, then he can just survive the heroes and kill them, and also the mages. Kaze is very good. He has access to backpacks in the form of, you can give him like Peri if you really want. You can give him Effie. You can give him Charlotte if you want to be kind of weird. The main line is Beruka, basically. Just pair him up with Beruka. She gives him movement. She gives him movement after she promotes. He gives her movement so she can be an 8 movement unit before promotion and move around and swap to him and deal combat damage with him. His strength is kind of middling, but you can give him the Hunter's Dagger after Chapter 14, and he gets effective damage against all Cav units. And he was never going to be good against armor units, to be fair. So, but he still gets to have his poison strike against armor units, which still means that he's at least somewhat relevant there. And all their enemies that he don't have enough defense to don't have defense or just get weapon triangled by him. So he's just good. You don't need to put much into him. If you do, you'll get more out of it. He does have Samurai reclass, which I think is pretty funny, because I think you can do like Astra shit. You can also like pair him up, marry him off with like Selena or something, get him access to hero, go Soul Master Ninja, Soul Mechanist Kaze or something. I wouldn't recommend it, but I do think that it sounds funny as hell. So if you want to try it, go for it. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say about Kaze. Keaton is the third and final male designated backpack unit that we have here. Keaton, he is a Wolfskin, which is a class that it's a furry class. It uses beast stones, and it does effective damage against beasts. It's only 2x, but that's still pretty solid. His beast stone gives him some pretty solid offensive stats. He has no skill, but unlike Arthur, he actually spawns at a decent base level, so he gets some decent hit rate out of that. Keaton, I think, would be a lot better if he just had like if it was easier to get him access to the Beast Stone Plus. The Beast Stone Plus gives like 8 skill and 6 speed, so like even a bad Keaton can double with it. So, but other than that, you can just promote him, and he at an A support he gives 7, at an S support he gives 7 strength, 4 speed, and 2 defense as a pair up. So he's your second male backpack. That's why it's a lot easier to get a backpack as a female unit than it is as a male unit. Because for male units, your best backpack is Charlotte, and Charlotte is probably going with Xander. As a female unit, your best backpack is can be Arthur or Keaton, and one of them is going to Camilla. I like giving Arthur to Camilla because he joins earlier, and getting more stats earlier is better. And the 2 defense is nice, but it's not going to do too much of an effect. And you can give Keaton to whoever else you want. You can give Keaton to you can do Keaton and Effie. If you want to give Effie a good backpack, then Effie Arthur is definitely better because they have a super fast support. But still, I digress. Keaton and Beruka, Keaton and Mozu, Keaton and Peri, Keaton and Selena, like these are all good pairings, and all female units will become a lot better if they marry Keaton. And Keaton also, funnily enough, if you marry a Wolfskin or Kitsune, you cannot get Wolfskin or Kitsune as a reclass. Instead, what you get is you get access to their secondary class. Keaton's secondary class just so happens to be Berserker, which means that he also, just like Charlotte and Arthur, gives whoever he marries access to HP plus 5, Gamble, and Soul, and Rally Strength, and all that good stuff. Mostly just HP plus 5, though. There's some units like Xander that can make use of Soul, but other than that, no. Yeah, Keaton is a good backpack, and if you want to use him as a support, like a good like dual striker, he can do a great job as a dual striker. Next up we have Laslow. Laslow is going straight into low investment. Laslow is I'm putting him into. Okay, Laslow does best as a low investment unit, but if you put him in medium, if you put some effort into him, he can also turn out well. But I'm going to put him in low investment because that's more accurate about what he is. If you haven't seen my Chapter 13 video, that's basically a great example for why Laslow is good. He joins with kind of meh speed, but he has enough stats that you can just insta-promote him into a Bow Knight, get like 4 speed off promotion, which is pretty damn good, and just like go to town. Like he's good. He has like solid sword rank, so he can use like Armor Slayers and a Kodachi if you want him to. He doesn't have any bow rank after promotion, but you can just give him a bronze bow, and that's really more than enough. There's no bows don't really have like good weapons that you want to have until C rank, whereas like swords and axes and lances have stuff at D rank where they have effective weapons that you want to have. Laslow is very good. He's a very good as an early promote unit that you can just promote it instantly. Maybe get him married fast by just giving him a decent backpack and dump him off eventually. He's not going to change the way you play the game, but he'll help you play the game the way you want to play the game. Next up is Leo. As I said, I'm biased towards Leo, so this might seem a bit weird, but I'm putting Leo into meta defining. Like if you don't want him in meta defining, he's probably going to go into either low or medium investment. Leo's the best mage that you can get in Conquest, and I know there's going to be motherfuckers in the comments talking to me about Ophelia. Listen, all right, this is for newcomers. If you tell a new player that they should be using Ophelia, they're going to reset 50 times an hour. I don't even know how the logistics of that work out, but they're going to reset a shit ton, and they're going to get mad and frustrated, and they might just stop playing Conquest. And that's the thing that I want to avoid the most. So I'm going to say that Leo is the best mage, because unless you know what to do, Leo is going to always be the best mage. And if you know what to do, why are you here? Well, you're probably here to hear my opinion, which is also a really weird reason to be here. I digress. Leo joins Chapter 14, which is not exactly early, but it's not exactly late. You're still in the mid game. He has a bunch of availability, and unlike a couple of these units, like for example Laslow, Benny to some extent, Beruka, unlike some of these units, he still gets. He still can be used after like you make like there's a big power spike around Chapter 20, and Leo's able to survive that power spike. So he just has a bunch of magic. You also get a shit ton of Spirit Dust. You can get 5 Spirit Dusts in Conquest. There's one on, sorry, let me just make sure that I'm getting this right. There's one on Chapter 11. There's one on Chapter 15. There's one on Ophelia's Paralogue. There's one on Sakura on Chapter 22, Chapter 22. And finally, there's one that you can buy in the shop at the 3rd level for 10,000 gold. The 5th one is if you really want to. if you give Leo all 5 of the Spirit Dust, that's a total waste, because he's going to cap his magic way earlier. You can just give him like 2 or 3 and he'll be more than good enough. He has the Brynhilder, which is a pretty decent tome. It's not like god tier, but it's not bad either. It has some I don't think it has any crit avoid built in, but it's got some decent might. It doesn't like negatively impact his doubling ability like Fate's Brynhilder. Yeah, Brynhilder, it's 10 might, 80 hit. Like, if you compare that to, like, the Thunder Tome, it has the same hit as Thunder, twice the might. It has 5 crit. Oh, it also gives 10 crit avoid. That's actually pretty good. It halves damage from magical attacks at a skill % proc rate, but nobody cares about that. It's just a good tome. Leo also gets really easy access to all the tomes that you can get from Odin's kid, Ophelia's Paralog. There's a Horse Spirit that gives him speed, which is the stat that he struggles with, along with some defense and res, which is always good for Leo. He gets a Calamity Gate, which lets him reverse weapon triangle, while still also giving him a little bit of speed and defense, which is also good. There's the Lightning Tome, which can let him double enemies that have, for example, Wary Fighter Generals. So it's a Brave Tome, so you can use that. Leo is great at dual strikes. He's great at just being a juggernaut unit in the mid to late game if you want him to. As you're approaching endgame around chapter 23, chapter 24, I would highly recommend reclassing Leo back into Sorcerer, because he's going to want access to Nosferatu against certain groups of enemies, and the defense drop isn't that noticeable, considering that you're probably giving him like 12 to 13 levels as a Dark Knight, so he's gotten a bunch more defense there, and you can also make up the difference a lot better the later you get, because you have access to better stat boosting stuff and stat stacking. Leo, he's a royal. He's good. End of story. Mozu. Oh, yeah, actually, before I go. Leo likes having good backpacks. The best backpacks for Leo are Felicia, Nyx. If you can swing Witch Nyx, definitely do it, because it's 8 magic and 5 speed and S support for Leo. So, yes, that's good. And if you really want to, you can do Azura backpack. I don't highly recommend it, but in my time of need, I have done it before, and it does do the job. Leo's eventually going to get to a point where he doubles without much help. Like, you can just pair him up with some random ass unit that gives like a little bit of speed and he'll be able to double. But until he gets there, he does need some help with the speed, and so that's good. Dark Knight Nyx gives him defense, magic, and speed, and some movement, which is good. Sorcerer Nyx gives him some extra res, which is unnecessary. So if you're going to do Nyx and Leo and you're not willing to use DLC to turn her into a witch, I would highly recommend Dark Knight. Felicia as a mage just gives him a bunch of speed, gives him a little bit of luck, which is kind of unnecessary, but whatever. And so she gives him some magic. Okay, let's move on to Mozu. Mozu, people that are familiar with stuff like, people that are familiar with units like Amelia or Nino or something might look at Mozu as a growth unit and think that she's really bad. First of all, as I said, I don't really count, I might not have said it, but if I didn't, then I'll say it again. I don't count turns often as a measure for investment unless it's on unless the turns are on a map where you need to move fast. Otherwise, you risk losing side objectives. For example, if a unit requires the early part of chapter 13 to be trained and they require you to go slow during that time, I will count that against them, because during that part of the map, there's an outlaw that's slowly going to villages and trying to ransack them and trying to get you other resources. It's trying to take away resources. But other than that, if you go slow, then I don't really mind, and you can just go for it. Mozu is a unit that even with going slow, I don't really recommend people using her. But she has a lot of utility outside of her just stats as a combat unit. Mozu starts off as a villager, which is a bad class. If you're going to use Mozu, I would highly recommend reclassing her into an archer. Archer is a significantly better class. You get access to Quick Draw at level 10, which is a skill that's basically half of modern Deathblow. It gives plus 4 damage on initiation. Fate's Deathblow gives you crit, but Quick Draw is the real Deathblow. You can promote her into a sniper and then turn her into a Kinshi for late game. Sniper is really good, gives a certain blow, which means that you're never going to be struggling with hit rates. Kinshi doesn't give you any good skills. Air superiority is kind of stupid, because if you're using a bow, you're going to be hitting you're going to have good accuracy, unless your name is like Reyna, but even then, Reyna can just use a better bow and get better accuracy. Anyways, Mozu has a lot of utility outside of her actual stats as a combat unit. There's a bunch of ways that you can do this. Number 1, She can marry people. She can marry a bunch of people. She can give them anybody that she marries. You cannot Gen 1 units other than Mozu can't get access to villager. Corrin can't get access to villager. None of these units on this can get access to villager except for Mozu. So instead, what Fates will give them is her secondary class, which is Archer. As I said, an extremely good class. Archer means that, like, for example, I like doing Mozu and Niles and getting Niles access to Sniper because it's a ton of fun, and you can turn him into a flyer later on as well. But you could do like Archer Laslow, Archer Jakob, Sniper Jacob. That sounds actually badass. You could do Kinshi Odin with Shining Bow. That actually sounds fun as hell. Honestly, but considering that Odin has workable magic, workable strength, you could probably just do Sniper Odin. You can do Sniper Silas, Sniper Xander. Now that's sick. You can, any male unit that she can marry, she can give them access to Archer and Sniper. And Archer and Sniper is a good class in Conquest because it's got good accuracy, it's got good stats, it's got good skills. It's just good. Number 2, she can have friends. You can get her anybody that Mozu can gets an A support with gets the same treatment as if she marries them, so they'll get access to Archer. The main one is Effie. You can get Sniper Effie and get her like quick draw, and she just fucking kills people. She doesn't kill them, she murders them. That's if you get that reference, you're epic. Anybody she A plus ranks with also gets the same treatment. It's just good. Point number 3 and the final one is, as a mother, she can give her children aptitude, which means that they'll have extra growth rates. Now, if you're using Mozu as an archer, honestly, quick draw might be the better inheritance over aptitude, because quick draw is just that good, or certain blow. Those skills are just that good. As a brain dead choice, aptitude. Just give them aptitude. They become significantly better, and you're happy. It's just. It's good. She's a very solid utility unit. If you want to just use her as a sniper, she's honestly just medium invest. She's not high in. You don't have to put shit into her. You can just turn her into a sniper and just have her kill enemies. It's quick draw by itself can turn Mozu into a unit. That's how good Archer skills are. I'm telling you. Niles is meta defining. We're gonna order these later. Niles not only joins early and has good speed and also has good res, which is kind of niche but also nice, and also has good and also gets movement +1 and also can reclass into a mounted class, but also he's, for some reason, they were like, you know what, let's give this unit some more privilege, and they give him access to Kidnap, which means you can capture Conquest generics. If you know anything about Conquest generics, that's really good. There are generics that by themselves are viable units. Let's see if I can find them down here. No, they're not down here. Haitaka is the boss of Chapter 9 in Conquest, and he is wild. He has he's like Oboro, but straight up better. He's got way better offenses than Oboro. Oboro gets shit canned by Haitaka straight up. He has 6 more HP at base than her, and they're the same level, so there is no excuse for that. And also he has access to rally defense, so he's a good unit. There's Kumagira, who can let you basically juggernaut through Chapter 17 very easily with a Tomahawk and a Berserker and a Strength Tonic. And there's also Rallyman, who gives you access to rally, strength, speed, defense, and res on the same unit. And there's stuff like Warding Blow Generals, I guess, if you want. There's Life and Death Samurai. There's Movement +1 Master Ninja. Life and Death Mechanists. There's Armored Blow Samurai. There's Lunge Ninjas. There's Seal Speed Ninjas. There's Aegis. There's Aegis. What are they called? Falconites, if you really want them. There's Certain Blow. Oni Chieftains. There's all kinds of Certain Blow and Heartseeker, mind you. There's all kinds of just insane stuff you can get off of Niles, and he's just really, really good. Shining Bow is an option. You can just turn him into a Bow Knight and just get just go strength and just have 9 movement on that unit. Niles is just really good. If you're not using Niles, you are playing Conquest wrong, straight up. Nyx. I fucking hate Nyx. As much as I really just want to put her in bad, her pair-up is just too good to ignore. Nyx is a magical pair-up unit, and if you try to use her as anything more, then, Godspeed to you, because she's going to get herself killed 70 times over. You can insta-promote her and get her for some decent combat, but she's often just better as as a backpack for Odin or Leo. Preferably Leo, because Leo is going to be better late game. But you can just get her. Marrying her to Odin is a valid strategy, and it's completely fine. Like if you do that, you can just get her an A support with Leo and probably just get the same effect. Nyx is good. Nyx is good as a backpack. Anything else, very suspect. If you were willing to go for DLC, you can give her the Witch's Seal, and she goes straight into like low investment. She gets like 16 magic, 17 magic and speed. It's insane. But I'm not going to count it as I'm not going to count DLC. I'm going to occasionally mention it maybe, but I'm not going to count it. Yeah, that's basically all there is to Nyx. Comes with a Fimble Vetter at 750 gold. Hey, that's value right there, buddy. Next up is Odin. Odin is a good low investment unit, but you can do some high investment stuff with Vantage, Life and Death and stuff. But I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to do it, then go for it though. Odin, he joins on chapter 8, and his base level is level 5, where most units like level 7 to level 8, which kind of sucks. And his stats also match, so his stats are really cringe. But what Odin has is he has good HP, good magic, good defense is in his growths, and his bases are kind of meh, but they can work. And he's a Dark Mage, so he has access to Nosferatu. If you just get him a few levels on either Chapter 8 or Paralog 1, I like saving Paralog 1, which is Mozu's Paralog, by the way, for after Chapter 8, so you can get Odin up to, like, level 7, and you can buy him a Nosferatu Tome. Now, I actually, the more I think about it, the more I want to move him into medium. Okay, I'm moving him into medium investment. I want to put him above Elise. Like, Wyvern Elise is a strong ass unit, but like the value you get out of Odin is wild. I'm putting him above Elise. Odin is Odin Elise. People will be like, oh my god, Odin has Samurai reclass. You can go into Samurai and get Vantage in Life and Death. The build it's okay, but you can definitely achieve the same, for example, like a Super Ophelia with Elise as her mom. What is a Super Ophelia going to do? She's going to be able to one-hit KO enemies in late game. But the thing is, one-hit KOing enemies it's cool, it's funny, it's fucking hilarious. Let me put it that way. It is hilarious, but it's not like inherently better than just being able to one-round them with somebody like you can with Leo. Her biggest benefit over Leo is being able to like one-hit KO generals in Chapter 26, because they have Wary Fighter, and Leo, even with Lightning Tome, it's kind of sus, and you do need to trade it off of him. So her absolute ceiling is higher, and basically I'm talking about Ophelia, but this also applies to Odin. But you do need to put some more like magical investment into him for him to be able to make it work. Talk to Zoran. That guy will talk your ear off about Super Ophelia. What you can do with Ophelia and Odin is cool, but I just, the way I see it, it's just not inherently better than just being able to deal with enemies by just killing them. What's so bad about, oh, I take a hit, I don't take too much damage, and I hit you back 2 times and you die? There's nothing wrong with that. You get some shield gauge, you might be able to get some soul healing off of it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with stuff like that. But if you want to do funny stuff, Odin and Ophelia are your guys. Back to Odin specifically, up till like Chapter 15, Chapter 16, Chapter 17 is bad for him, but Chapter 18 even maybe, Odin is a great Nosferatu tank. And then after that, you can just keep the Nosferatu in your convoy until you need it for end game for Leo to be able to properly survive really strong offensive units. It doesn't need it to survive, but it just makes life a lot easier. You don't have to hold on to a vulnerary and use it every player phase. You can, or have Life Taker or something and make sure you proc it every turn. It's just a lot less babying if you just give him the Nosferatu and turn him into a sorcerer. But the investment it does take investment. You need to give him a backpack, which isn't too much investment, but that's like a small part of the investment that it takes to use Odin. Another part of the investment that it takes to use Odin is the fact that you need to buy him a Nosferatu Tome, which is 4,000 gold in the early game, which is significant, and is a reason why Odin is going to be in medium investment instead of low investment. But he's above Elise here. If you've ever used Wyvern Elise, you know that Elise is a monster of a unit if you can get her into a Malignite and get her a solid backpack. But Odin is above her because of the sheer value that you get out of Ophelia's Paralog. As I said, all child unit Paralogs are going to be, the value of those Paralogs is going to be attributed to their fathers. And Odin and Ophelia Paralog, dear God, is that a value engine. You get a Spirit Dust, one of the 5 Spirit Dusts that you can get in Conquest, but that's one of the, that Spirit Dust and the Chapter 11 Spirit Dust are the easiest Spirit Dust to get. And then you get a Lightning Tome, which is a brave magical weapon, which is good for people like, you could just give it to Odin, but giving it to Leo and using it to dual strike with him is often is also an option. You can give it to Camilla if for some reason you've put a shit ton of magic investment into Camilla. You can give it to Elise, but Elise can just kill enemies with fire, and also her accuracy is going to be pretty shit with lightning. You can also you also get a Calamity Gate, which is a Reaver Tome. Calamity Gate is, you can only get one of those in Conquest, and that's the only place you can get it at, and it's damn good. Calamity Gate means that if you're up against a group of blue enemies, your life is way easier. Like if you're like Odin against Odin or Leo, or basically any magical unit against a lance enemy is kind of a shit show. But if you give them a Calamity Gate, it becomes a lot easier to deal with. And if you have a high, and if your magical unit has a high tome rank, then the reversed weapon triangle is a ton of like hit and damage. And it just means that it just becomes a lot easier. Then you get the Horse Spirit, which is another weapon that you can only get once in Conquest, and you can only get on Ophelia's Paralog. And it's a tome with okay stats, but the main draw is that it gives you +3 skill, speed, defense, and res. And all 4 of those, and 3 of those stats are extremely important. One of those stats is pretty good. And like those, Odin turns himself or Leo, but usually just Leo, from a unit that's like here to a unit that's definitely in here. Like those tomes and that like extra magical stuff can just turn your units into monsters. Odin is good. If you don't like using Nosferatu tanks and you just don't like it, I would still at least recommend getting him married, because getting the stuff off of Ophelia's Paralog is too good to pass up. Next up is Peri. Peri is a unit that I have a soft spot for. I'm going to put her into low investment. I'll put her into medium investment. Because like low investment Peri it's a bit sus, but and also medium investment Peri is often better than low investment Peri. But Peri is definitely good as a low investment unit, but medium investment Peri is just slightly better. Peri, she joins in Chapter 12, and she has great offensive stats. She has a solid personal. Her personal is Bloodthirst, where whenever she kills an enemy, she gets +4 strength, magic, skill, and speed until end of turn. Keep in mind, this counts as a rally, so it can't stack on top of rallies. So you can't do rally speed and also her personal to get 8 extra speed, which kind of sucks, but also you're not going to get rallies until the late game. And by the late game, Peri isn't really relying on her personal anymore. It's just a nice little bonus that she has. Peri's a female, so she has easier access to backpacks. Again, Arthur and Keaton. You get two great backpacks on the male side, and only one great female backpack. And Peri's a mounted unit, so that's good. Because Cavaliers also have access to elbow room, and there's not too much terrain in Conquest, and when there is terrain, you can work around it. That means that Peri's going to have a lot more room to a lot more wiggle room to deal a shit ton of damage. She has good weapon ranks: D rank swords, C rank lances. That's really basically as much as you're ever going to need for the entire game. That gives you access to all the effective weaponry that you can need. She has like valuable promotion options. Like Great Knight Peri versus Paladin Peri is actually a tough decision. Paladin gives you a lot better offensive stats and gives you access to Defender, which gives you +1 to all your stats when you have a backpack. And Peri's gonna have giving Peri a backpack again. That's another reason why it's good to give Peri a backpack, because Paladins like backpacks. But Great Knight also gives her a shit ton of defense, and if you stack that on top of Keaton, then she gets up to like 24 defense or something, and like still has like good speed, but she doesn't get access to Defender. It's a tough choice, but it's definitely like either way you're getting a better unit. She joins kind of underleveled, but she still has good stats, so you can get a bunch of EXP on her really quickly. She joins pretty early, and she has. And the main thing that I like about Peri, and that sets her apart from some of these bozos, like for example, what sets her apart from Laslow, what sets her apart from Benny, what sets her apart from Odin, what sets her apart from later on, like what sets her apart from people like Selena even and Beruka, is that she has a way easier time when the difficulty spikes, getting back on track. If you don't know the meta, in Conquest, there's 3 chapters: Chapter 19, Chapter 20, Chapter 21. In the middle of the game, right before you hit the late game, that are so bullshit annoying and just garbage if you don't just skip it with flyers, that you're just going to be deploying flyers, and you're probably going to be reclassing Xander into a flyer. So that means that like units getting EXP, like a lot of units can't get EXP, and like EXP isn't the end of the road, but that also comes around the point in time where enemies become promoted, and also enemies get better skills, and the game starts giving you a difficulty spike. So when you combine all of those factors, it becomes a lot harder to just be used until chapter 18, not be deployed for 19 through 21, and then come back on chapter 22 and still be able to work. But Peri is able to make that jump pretty damn effortlessly. The only other units that are able to make this jump as easily as Peri is are like Kaze and Niles. Only units that are not going to be deployed on chapter 19 to 21. For example, Xander makes a jump well, but that's because Xander is one of the main units that you're going to be deploying on those 3 chapters, so it's not like that matters. Shura is also able to make it, but that's because his growths are kind of middling and his bases really are good about him. Camilla makes it, but that's also because she's going to be deployed there. Stuff like that. A lot of units fall back there, but Peri's able to keep being a good combat unit, and I think that's what really makes me like her as a unit. Alright, that's enough ranting about Peri. Let's move on to Selena. Selena, we're going to go into high investment. The more you put into Selena, the better she's going to be. Selena is your classic, like, if you could get, she's like a Myrmidon, basically, in mercenary clothing, which makes her a lot better, because Myrmidons kind of tend to be worse than mercenaries in most Fire Emblem games. Her strength is kind of shit, her HP is okay, her defense is actually pretty solid, and her speed is really good. But her strength is kind of meh, and getting strength backpacks, you have Arthur and Keaton. But it's kind of sus to get her a backpack, especially because her promoted mounted class Bow Knight is good, but her stats aren't the greatest. However, if you get her more investment in the form of getting her an A+ with Beruka, or just putting like a little bit of stat boosting into her, like putting an energy drop from like Sophie's Paralog into her, or getting her like some reclasses and stuff, or giving her the extra backpack, she can really shine this unit. Like a Wyvern Selena with HP +5 and Soul, or like a Master Ninja Selena off of, I don't know how the hell I guess you'd have to marry her with Kaze, which is definitely gonna just absolutely be garbage for her strength, but still, like, more you put into Selena, the more she gives you, and I think that she's a very solid high investment unit. I think I'm not gonna put her over Effie. I think Effie joining early is a lot better. Next up is Shura. Shura is, I want to put him here. I really want to put him here. Actually, like, the fact that he gives you boots might actually change the way you play the game. Does having it? Yes, okay, it does. Shura's gonna go into here. Shura is a pre-promote that joins you kind of like, he joins at the end of the chapter where Xander joins. He's an adventurer, which and his stats might be like, okay, I mean, this is pretty cool, but like, I got a bunch of units that are also pretty strong. That's because adventurer is his only bad class. Reclass him into, hero. His reclass options are, and I quote, Master Ninja, Berserker, Hero, and Bow Knight, and also Mechanist. All 5 of those classes are classes that Shura is significantly better in. Berserker gives him HP +5 and Gamble for some fun stuff, but also Rally Strength, which can also help you out, because early Rally Strength, a lot of your Berserkers are going to end up being backpacks, as I said, so having Rally Strength is nice until you get like Rally Man. On chapter 20, Rally Man's chapter 23, Shura joins chapter 16, so there's a pretty big gap there. And also, Bow Knight means that he gets to keep his bow rank, and he also gets like Rally Skill, which isn't that impactful, but like keeping his bow rank is pretty good. He gets 9 movement because he starts off as an adventurer. He gets movement. He starts off with movement +1 and lock touch, so he has 9 movement as a Bow Knight. You can do Rally Strength and Rally Skill, have HP +5, and like some shit like that. If you do Berserker and that, you can go into Master Ninja, which is just a good class, and we all know why it's a good class. And also, he has like solid stats to make it work. And again, HP +5 is going to help out a lot there. You can also go into, for example, Hero and get Soul, and then Hero is better as a transitioning class because he has his reclass, his classes are Outlaw, Fighter, and Ninja. So Fighter also lets you promote into Hero, same as Mercenary, but Fighter gives you HP +5 before promotion, HP +5 and Gamble before promotion, whereas Mercenary gives you Good Fortune and Strong Riposte before promotion. HP +5 being a lot better for Shura, so thankfully he has that. You can go into you can go into hero, get HP plus 5, gamble, which isn't that good or that impactful, but you can do it if you want, and soul, and then you go into Master Ninja and just use dagger, like use a bronze dagger 20 times, get him like an iron dagger plus 1, and suddenly he's a good soul Master Ninja, and you can get him like a just a generic defense backpack with like some movement, and he has like 7 movement and good stats. You can do a ton of things with Shura, and all of them are good. On the other hand, you can just kill him and get boots, which is still pretty good. I don't recommend new players doing it. Shura has a lot of good stats, and I would highly recommend any new player don't kill Shura. But the fact that killing Shura gives you boots definitely does change the way you play the game in the late game. It makes a lot of skipping chapters. It makes skipping chapters 20 and 24 a lot easier with flyers. But it's still like even without that, he's just a good unit. Use Shura basically. Next up is Silas. Silas is a god tier. He's top of low investment. I want to put him in meta defining, but he doesn't really using Silas does take some like investment in the form of like Corrin pair up, but you do get a ton of return out of it. Basically, Silas joins you early. He's a cavalier, and he has a shit ton of just a stupid damage output potential super early. Silas's personal is Vow of Friendship, which is when Corrin is below half HP, he gets plus 3 damage dealt and minus 3 damage taken. Corrin's personal is anybody that they have a C support with gets plus 2 damage dealt and minus 2 damage taken, and plus 10 hit while they're backpacking. When Corrin's backpacking for someone. So if you have C support with Silas, Silas is going to get at the minimum bound, not even counting the stats that Corrin gives them from like pair up. Like if you have, for example, if you have like a fighter Corrin or something, you're gonna get another 4 strength and 2 speed on top of this, but that's not being counted here. You're gonna get a minimum of 5 more damage dealt, 5 less damage taken, and 10 more hit, and that's stupid for the early game. You can just give him like an Iron Sword Forge or something and just go buck wild on enemies. He makes your early game a lot easier. It's definitely a bit risky of a play for a newcomer, but if you think you have the balls to pull it off, I would highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and it's also very good, and it also makes your life a lot easier. I would highly recommend it. Oh, sorry, that's my brother. I guess the music is just kind of quiet. Yeah, Silas is good in the early game. You can also just like get him in A+ support with Kaze and turn him into a Soul Master Ninja. I guess I could put him into high investment, but I think Silas is better as you just use him early on, get him married to somebody, dump him, and just use Sophie for the rest of the game because she just has some stupid stats, and also her speed doesn't become garbage later on. Next up is Xander, meta defining. We all know this. Xander has access to 1 to 2 range with a sword. He's a paladin, which means he's good, and he has basically impenetrable defenses because his weapon gives him plus 4 defense. While it's just in his inventory, even if he's equipping like a bronze lance or something for whatever reason, he just gets more like defense, 4 more defense. He's a paladin, and 1 level he gets defender, and defender means that he gets plus 1 to every stat when he has a backpack. You put him up with Charlotte. Okay, let's see. We're gonna assume that Xander gets an empty level up for his first level up. All right. If you have an S support with Charlotte and you level him up once, Xander is going to have 38 HP, 24 plus 8, 32 strength, 5 magic, I guess, 18, 19, 19 skill. 21 speed, 21 luck, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 defense, and 12 res. And that's stupid. That's just stupid. And that's not even counting his personal or elbow room or all the other shit that you can do with him. His partner, his most consistent partner, Charlotte, also gives him access to hero reclass, which means that you can go into hero, get HP plus 5 and soul, and also go back to paladin, or just stay in hero if you don't want to have like a beast weakness. Because there's some enemies in the late game, and on chapter 19, a lot of the enemies have beast killing. A lot of the enemies have like cav effectiveness. So if you don't want to deal with that, you can just keep him there. And he just does a ton of work. Like Xander is very good. He has Wyvern reclass. Xander by himself basically makes chapter 19 super easy. Like you turn Xander into a Wyvern, make sure that he has a C support with Corrin, pair Corrin up with him, and give him a beast killer, and he can basically solo that map. And he can solo any section of the game that has just mostly, if not exclusively, physical units. You put him there, he's gonna live. The funny thing that actually people don't realize about Xander is that he has a ton of luck. He has 75% luck as a paladin and 20 luck. Like, if you put him into Lodestar, which is the class with the highest luck, I'm pretty sure, in the game, he gets 85% luck growth, which is a lot of fun. Xander, enemies just don't have crit on Xander, unless they're like Mjolnir, and even then they're gonna have like 3% crit. It's insane. His weapon gives him plus 10 crit avoid when he's equipping it too, so that's even more crit avoid. And also, isn't Siegfried like, hold up. Siegfried is 11 might, 80 hit, 5 crit, 10 crit avoid, and defense plus 4 when it's in his inventory, 1 to 2 range. Xander is good. We all know Xander is good, but he's definitely good. Let's get around to ordering these. I'm not going to put too much time into this, but yeah. No, Camilla is better than Corrin. Azura is better than Corrin. Nope. Leo. I would say, I'd say it's a long-term unit. Niles is definitely better. No, Shura's here. Xander is okay. Xander is he better? Is Xander better than Shura? Yes. Is Xander better than the servants? Yes. Is Xander better than Niles? I actually don't think so. Is Shura better than the servants? Yes. Is Shura better than Xander? No. Okay, now we have to do is Leo better than the servants? Yes. Is Leo better than Shura? Yes. Is Leo better than Xander? No. Okay. If I said yes, then people would get pissed off. Actually, I think Shura should go here. Okay. Is Corrin better than the servants? Yes. Is Corrin better than Leo? Yes. Is Corrin better than Shura? Yes. Is Corrin better than... Okay, Niles needs to get moved down, like, right here. Okay. That's basically how the top tier is gonna go. Is Laslow better than Kaze? No. Is Kaze better than Benny? Yes. Is Kaze better than Gunter? Yes. Is Kaze better than Silas? I think they're about the same. Like, both these units are very good. I'm gonna put Benny here. I'm gonna put... Yeah, I'm gonna... I'll keep it this way. Okay. Peri's gonna move up. Yeah, this is good. Out of these units, which is... Okay, this is by far the best utility unit that we have. Then Keaton. Then Arthur. Then Mozu. Then Izana. Then Nyx. Because Nyx, without DLC, is not that good of a backpack. She does give a bunch of magic, but she doesn't have the extra, like, oomph with the speed that Charlotte or that these guys have. She's still, like, a solid backpack, but actually, I'll do this, because Izana joins pretty damn late, and Flora is bad. Alright, that's the video. How long have I been recording for? An hour. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Uploading an hour-long video. My computer's space is gonna be very low after this video. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you did, please leave a like. I mean, if you liked it, please leave a like. If you wanted to see something, if you want to see something cool and unique and original and that doesn't cost a shit ton of money, leave it in the comments. If you want to see more content, then subscribe, and we all know what the bell does by now. Have a good day. Bye.